What's up everyone on the internet? Thank you for making this video party. I'm so excited to upload this one for you guys because after watching the Northman, I was on a Viking crave, and lo and behold, Netflix just so happens to have Vinland Saga. So I figured, you know what, if I like Northman, maybe I'll like this show as well. And the premise is pretty straightforward. We have a young boy going on a quest to avenge his father from the man who killed him. Seems pretty simple enough. What I didn't expect was a brutal story about the ugly side of revenge and the price you pay for the blood you seek. More on that later. But anyway, season 1 of Vinland Saga was released back in 2019 and is set during the Viking era as we follow young Thorfinn, who's just a boy living in Iceland with his family but wants to live a life of adventure. Well, he sort of gets his chance when word begins to spread about that the war between England and Denmark is getting pretty bad, to the point where Denmark needs soldiers ASAP. That is until his dad Thor steps in to represent the young men of the village in the hopes that they will be spared in taking part of this war. So you're probably thinking, hold on, wait a minute. We're trading in pretty much 24 men for one guy? How is that a fair trade? Normally this would be a stupid trade, but when you look at Thor's, you can already tell that this guy is a one-man army. Even in the opening scene of the series, you already get a good look at just how much of a badass Thor's really is. But despite being a complete and total badass, Thor's really tries to explain to Thorfinn that there's nothing epic about going to war. There's nothing glorious about taking another man's life. And right there, the story already strikes a chord with the audience, because when it comes to watching war and conflict, whether it's in anime, movies, or TV shows, we often fantasize ourselves as the heroes of those stories, when in reality, it is nothing but horrific death and violence and ugly conflict between men, where there's really nothing glorious about it. However, because Thorfinn is still a kid, a lot of that lecture went through one ear and out the other as he basically sneaks onto his dad's boat before they sail off to war. And I love how Thorfinn is pretty much acting like how we were when we were kids, where we're trying to listen to what our parents are trying to teach us, but at the same time, our minds are just wandering off to God knows where. Well, that decision would have some major ramifications as the two come across Askeladd, who is the leader of a Viking mercenary group who challenged Thorfinn's dad and kills him. At that point, right then and there, that is where the story takes off as we see the hatred swell in Thorfinn's eyes with rage. And honestly, I have never seen an anime character with that kind of fury before. What was it that Yoda once said? Fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. Yeah, this kid pretty much skipped fear and anger and went straight to hatred as he vows that he will avenge his father and kill Askeladd. Well, unfortunately, he can't really do anything in this current state, so you know what? Time for a training montage. And over the course of, I think maybe 1 or 2 episodes, we watch this kid undergo a transformation as he goes from innocent little boy to a stone cold killing assassin, as he actually decides to join Askeladd's group of mercenaries in the hopes of getting close to this man and killing him. And right there, this sort of reminded me of Gangs of New York, as both stories were playing similar beats, where we have our main character being trained under the same man who killed their father in the hopes that he will kill him and avenge the father. Now, one of the things that I really loved about this anime is how it shows you that revenge can make you blind. Because while Thorfinn is too busy obsessing about killing the man that killed his father, Askeladd is busy with his own agenda, to where he actually uses Thorfinn to do a lot of his dirty work. Now, some of you are probably wondering, wait, hold on. Why would this guy work for this guy if he hates him so much? Well, the way Askeladd sees is that if he can redirect Thorfinn's rage to something that he will benefit from, then by all means, he's going to manipulate the hell out of this kid. And he does so very perfectly as he offers Thorfinn a chance to duel with him in the hopes that Thorfinn will take the bait and do whatever Askeladd tells him to. And we see this play throughout the entire first season as we watch Thorfinn take orders from Askeladd in order to get a chance to duel and kill him. But even though Thorfinn's good, he's not really that good, as normally he gets beaten by Askeladd every time. What's the definition of insanity again? Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result? Now this is where we start to see the ugly side of revenge, because while every other character is going through their own character arc and moving forward in the story, Thorfinn, on the other hand, is still on the same path he chose. This also shows you that revenge can make you blind, because despite all the horrible things that he has done, Thorfinn really hasn't learned anything from this quest. And by the time you reach the end of the season, you really do feel bad for this character, as he pretty much threw his whole life away in the sake of revenge. Which ultimately leads into season 2, but we're not going to talk about season 2 right now, because at the time of recording, season 2 is still currently running. But I will definitely do a review on season 2, because oh my god, Thorfinn's character transformation is something special. But going back into season 1, solid story, plenty of action, and surprisingly a lot of politics, which was a very nice touch, given how it allows the viewer to take a step back from all the action and learn about the power structure of this world, which also serves as a motive for our main antagonist, Askeladd, because while he's using Thorfinn for his own personal gain, his overall agenda is something else, as we learn that he's not just some random Viking mercenary. No, he is a cold, cunning tactician who's got big plans for the future. You could say that he's pretty much playing chess throughout the entire series, because every decision he makes, it means something, and he's using every piece at his disposal to achieve his ultimate goal. And his overall endgame, without going into spoilers, it's pretty crazy. I also mentioned that he serves the story by being the overall antagonist, and looking back at it now, I don't think that's the right term to describe him. I mean, yeah, he did a horrible thing to Thorfinn and killed his dad right in front of him, which ultimately painted him as the villain. But as you progress further on in the season, you begin to learn more about him and start to understand where he's coming from. And hell, at some point, he becomes a second father figure to Thorfinn, despite this kid trying to kill him. So I wouldn't consider him as an antagonist or a villain, but more of an anti-hero, given how he's doing all these horrible things, but in his eyes, it's all for a good cause. Damn, that is some character building at its finest, and this may be a bit of a bold statement, but I'm gonna say it. I think Askeladd is the Walter White of anime. Hear me out, both characters start off with a small upbringing and had to climb through the ranks in order to obtain power and use that power for their own personal agenda, which in their eyes is for a good cause. So while you get the action side of the story from Thorfinn, you also get the political side from Askeladd, which ultimately balances out in this first season. So overall, I really love this first season, and it's only 24 episodes long, super easy to binge through, and given what I've seen in season 2 so far, I'm actually really enjoying the story. So I'll definitely do a review once season 2 is finished. But like I said, if you're looking for something to watch on Netflix, I highly recommend you watch this show. Well, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. That was my overall view on the first season of Vinland Saga. If you like what you saw, click the subscribe button to see what's updates from this channel. I'll see you next time with a brand new video. Bye-bye.